So you mentioned Mahar being the next project on campus. Is there a time frame for when you're expected to start that project?
Yeah, yeah. So we actually had the kickoff meeting on December 16th for that, with the contractor and the state construction fund. And they'll be mobilizing here in January to start
Mm.
putting up fencing, it looks like, and we'll get going on that.
Can you
So
give
we
us
had
any insight onto as to what's going to be going on inside the building or?
Yeah, I mean it's essentially it's not going to be it's going to be a vast gut renovation similar to Hewitt, but it will be more of your typical, classroom office type spaces, more of it's just going to house the same folks that are there now. It's not going to have all the specialty equipment and pieces and parts that Hewitt does, but that's just because of the programs and the folks that live there. But it's going to vastly improve the university and that central quad to the campus.
so
Mm.
just some nicer equipment basically, and what we had heard recently that it seems like that project should not take like a really long time. That should be a somewhat quicker project.
Yeah, that's correct. 2 to 2.5 years. Yep.
It seems like a long time in a vacuum, 2.5 years, but it's really not in terms of like a whole project, right?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it'll be about 2 years of construction, and
Hmm.
then we'll move in and occupy the building, and depending on when they break ground, right, they have a certain number of calendar days from there that'll sort of back into a critical path schedule, and that'll give us a time of when we'll take possession potentially of the building, and that will dictate what semester we then take over the building and occupy, right? So, really exciting to see that quad starting to develop and change that campus dynamic from sort of that 60s utilitarian look to more of a modern look for the campus.
Yeah.
Do you know where the classes that are there now are moving?
Yeah, actually, I do. So they're all moved, right? So that's a huge dynamic too, is we had to take everyone that went into Hewitt. They were most of them were in Lanigan, right? And we had to surge them out of Lanigan into Hewitt over the summer, and then we started surging the people in Mahar into Lanigan. So a lot of those folks are in Lanigan now temporarily. Some are up in the campus center in the Poucher wing of the campus center, and others those are primarily the two most parts of where they are, and then there's some stragglers elsewhere throughout the campus. But it's always a domino of shuffling people in places and figuring out how to fit these folks in. We don't have a building dedicated just to move people to every time we do a
Yeah.
project, so it's really a lot of effort, and I give a lot of kudos to Tedra Marshall, who's on our team, to
Mm.
sort of takes that bull by the horns and runs with it and figures out how to fit these folks in and what's needed, right? Sometimes we have to do an enabling project to fit folks in and make some changes, whether it be electrical, data, power, whatever it may be.